Hello, everybody. I wanted to thank you so much for tuning in to our voiceover panel. We're super excited to talk about various topics pertaining to this craft and the business. My name is Keiko, and I'm a voice actress as well as the owner of MLA Entertainment. And today I am honored to say I am joined by 5 incredibly talented voice actors who I also get to say I have the pleasure of working with in my web series, Project Infinity. Why don't we all take turns to introduce ourselves and explain a little about ourselves so those tuning in can get to know us a little bit better? So, who should we start with? A volunteer?
I'll
Let's
start.
see. Yeah, go on right ahead. Awesome.
My name is Melanie Scroggins. I play Octavia Hilgarth in Project Infinity. I'm a voice actor and audio producer. I've been producing audio for about 3 years and then just started offering voiceover about a year ago. Completely fell in love with it and have been so fortunate to have been a part of Project Infinity throughout that whole journey. And I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. And
I'll
how
go next.
about, yeah,
My
go
turn.
right
All right,
ahead.
go next.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So, hey, everyone, I'm Tom Aglio. I play Gunn Lambden in Project Infinity. I'm super excited to be here. I'm a professional voice actor based out of New York. I just released a cool game called Next Stop Nowhere on Apple Arcade. That was a lot of fun to do with Night School games. I do primarily a lot of commercial work, but I have been doing some regular ADR and animation work for some stuff that's coming out that I'm excited to share when I can. And I'm just pumped to be here. Voice acting is like the best industry, best journey ever. So it's good times.
Awesome. Staying real busy.
Yes, very much so, which is good.
Yeah.
Right,
Why don't you go ahead, Kevin?
I'll go next. Yeah, okay. So my name is Kevin, or Keiko Pro. I obviously am a voice actor. I'm also a streamer and a YouTuber. Does a lot of videos for games like Danganronpa and Your Turn to Die. And I play Connor Ackland in Project Infinity. And other notable roles include, I'm a part of this voice acting group called Voicing Harmony. There I voice So Hiyori when we do dubs for Your Turn to Die comics and such. So yeah, that's me.
Super. How about we go, who's next? Next volunteer?
I
can go.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Go
Let's
for
get
it,
other
Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah.
sorry.
Inception.
No problem.
I'm Kevin Cutliff. I'm a voice actor as well. I wouldn't say I'm the most professional out of the group, but I'm working towards it, following in Tom's footsteps, actually. He directed my commercial demo, so that's awesome. And as you can see, I'm 18 years old, so my room is all messed up. But
It
hope
works,
you don't
man.
mind the mess.
It could be a lot worse, especially in these crazy times.
Yes.
Looks pretty good. Okay, and how about
And-
Candice?
Okay. Well, firstly, Kevin, don't worry about it. We're all on different paths, and we're all at different points in our journey. And I think that's going to be really vital to what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, I'm Candice. I play Leah, the robot, in Project Infinity. I'm credited as Chippa, though. I've been voice acting from home for roughly 10 years now. I started when I was a teenager. Absolutely in love with it. It's my dream. But I'm based here in Melbourne, Australia. So
Wow.
hi, good morning to you all from the future.
Time zone, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to say I play Milo as of episode 6.
Yes, that's
right.
correct. Yes. And he's doing an awesome job. He brings
Yes, he
so
is.
much life and energy to the character and every character he plays. It's awesome. All of you guys are incredible. So I'm super happy to have you joining me for this panel. So why don't we jump right into the conversation, get the ball rolling
Cool.
on voiceover work. The world of voiceover work is actually quite expansive. A lot of people may not realize it because there's so many different, genres in a sense. You've got, a podcast, you've got animation, you've got commercial work, there's all sorts of things. And so why don't we define what is voice acting to us and what are all the different kinds of work we've done in the field ourselves? And how is it different from other forms of acting for those who are unsure?
I guess I'll start. So voice acting for me, it really is the same as acting because, whether it's commercial or narration or animation or video games or whatever, you're still bringing life to the script, even if it's like the most mundane, boring script, which I'm sure a lot of us have seen. You still have to make it your own, and you still have to make it come to life. So there are so many avenues of voiceover that you would never even think of, things that I discover daily even now. And so I mean, I've primarily done like commercial and narration work and everything like that, since I'm in New York, and New York's a commercial town. But like I said, there's just so much out there, and it's in my opinion, it's harder than on camera or theater acting. Like, and I come from like a theater background and everything, because there you have like, you can pick up, you can portray like the subtle nuances of body language and everything, whereas in voiceover you can't do that. So
Exactly.
you have to convey all of those emotions literally with just the words that are on the page. You have nothing else to do so. So if you can do that, then you can act really in anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, the imagination portion of voice acting, I think, is one thing that makes it a little different from acting like on screen or in the theater, is that it's kind of a two-way, street. Like, you have the entire world in front of you. You can create it with whatever, little tools you have in your brain, but that's just it, is you create as much as you allow yourself to. And so with whatever script, whether it's a pharmaceutical narration or whether it's a really fun, commercial, you have to be the one to dictate every single part of that. And I was actually reading something the other day that said, that we have such power over somebody who can listen, like who listens to us. So an audience of any type is very much influenced by the voice of, that's why commercials work so well, right? I mean, you sell, and narration is like, how well do I explain or educate? And so you have these genres, and then, no matter what genre you're in, you still have to be able to allow the listener to like go on a journey with you. And I think that's one reason why voiceover is so important to me personally, is because I have such power in a sense, but I take such care and thought. And I think we're all, you can tell in our characters, like, we very much want you to believe that's who we are, because in a sense, that is who we are when we're in the series.
Exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
And well, I would like to add on to what Tom was saying about the acting portion of voice acting. You could listen to as many podcasts as you like. A lot of people will say that voice acting is 10% voice, 90% acting. So you might come across people who will say, "Wow, you've got a great voice. You should try out voice acting." But there's so much more to it. It's a craft, just like acting, just like art, just like painting, art. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, voice acting to me, to make it to put it in a more, I guess, I wouldn't say artistic level, but I just love the idea of being able to breathe life into characters, being able to take just words on a piece of paper and being able to just give it life, give it shape, give it form, so that people could hear it. That's the joy that I get from voice acting. It just fills me with such euphoria.
Yeah, it gives
So
you
I'm
a
sure
feeling
the same
like no
would be
other.
for. Oh, sorry.
It gives you a feeling like no other, for sure.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm sure everybody feels that way, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, I'd like to also argue that when it comes to doing voice acting, it has a lot more potential than normal acting, because with normal acting, you're kind of stuck within the confines of what you can do, because it's a visual thing. Like, you can off, like, when acting, you're kind of stuck with, like, what you show off, just like, appearance wise. But then, like, when you are voice acting, like, just, it's amazing sometimes when you hear a voice on screen, like, coming from a character, and then you see that voice actor in real life, and just like, how was that person able to convey that voice with such, like, like tenacity and everything, like seeing like a really small person convey like just like such a demanding, powerful voice, just like super cool to see. And just, yeah, again, like, there's so much that can, like, because you don't have the ability to do like facial expressions or nothing, like, you can be fine doing like a monotone voice when acting, as long as all your, like, other, nuances are okay. But with voice acting, it literally is just all through your voice. So you just got to make sure you master that. And yeah, don't sound like, say, like just get all your intonations correct, because, like, there's a difference in how a character shows off. If you sound, say, like as Tommy Wiseau compared to like someone who's not Tommy Wiseau, but
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Would you like to add anything to that, Kevin Cutliff?
Yes, I would totally agree with Kevin about the voice acting and stage versus stage acting, where it's like, where I'm a big guy and I have like this beard right here, so it's like if I was a stage actor, I might get cast as like a grunt or something. I don't
Yeah.
or a dumb person. I don't know, but
No.
for voice acting, I have a very young voice, so I can bring that out, a lot in characters that you wouldn't expect me to play or look like versus my characters.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it's better than not getting typecasted based on your appearance. Like someone like, say, what was his name? Who played Tyrion Lannister again in Game of Thrones?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course he's stuck playing, characters who are on the shorter side, but he played, for example, in the game Destiny, he was the voice of your ghost, like your little friend, which again, because it didn't have to worry about like his physical appearance or anything, he was able to perform a role like that, which is great. It gives you more options, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, you never know what you're going to be. I mean, one session you could be one thing, and then the next session you would play something else, and you'll get to really express that range without having to really worry about what you look like, and you can play all these different characters with your voice that you may never get to play, physically otherwise. Like the other day I was a talking dinosaur, and then I got to be, do a commercial. So it's just everything's different, and it's so dynamic, and that's just what's great about it.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say, to like sum that all up, it just shows how voice acting has this limitless capability. Yeah.
And from anywhere. So we're versus like, if you're in the theater, like we're seeing now, in even commercial production, which is picking back up, as I'm sure some of y'all have seen with the work that you've gotten recently.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've talked to a lot of production houses that are just now coming back. Those of us who have been able to work from home, who are very fortunate, we're still able to do that from home. We, those of us who, if you've been in a commercial or not, like you usually have to go to a place and you have like your director, but you also have your producer and you have your assistant AD. And like, you've got all these different people playing these roles who are physically there trying to make this thing happen. And you as the actor are also a part of that. And so without the need to be near a bunch of bodies, we can really hone in our craft just from, some of us are bunk beds, some of us are closets, some of us from our little home studio that we've been able to build out. And so that's one thing that I'm super jazzed about with this industry. And we're only seeing that become more ubiquitous, which is really exciting.
Definitely is cool just being able to say like voice a villain or just like be super bombastic while just being in like your PJs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like just it's a lot less than having to get a like full suit and tie or just full costume. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a very comfortable profession in
Exactly,
terms of work attire.
Definitely leads to a lot of clickbait though. What are you from home doing your voice in pajamas?
I've rolled out of bed before and like just my PJs, whatever. Did like an audition or a job, and then then went and made my coffee and started my day. So it's nice.
Yeah,
it's very freeing for sure.
Yeah.
So the first step for those tuning in becoming a voiceover artist is obviously taking that first step.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it would be interesting if we all shared how we all got involved in voiceover and what our own stories are. How did we discover it, and how did we choose that path?
All right. Yeah. So like I said, I come from, like a theater background, and I was doing on camera and stuff for a while, and I was getting work, but I didn't really like the lifestyle. I had friends who were like, you should really try voiceover. And at first, I'm not going to lie, I kind of turned my nose up to it. And I'm like, well, I want to do real acting, whatever. That's not the way I feel now. But I'm sure like a lot of people, I always loved video games and anime and animation.
Yeah.
So that's what I got into it for. And then, reality hit that outside of LA, that work's not as plentiful. There's definitely still, you can definitely still do it, but it's not as plentiful it is, in LA. When, then you just got to realize where you are and kind of just get coaching. Once you feel comfortable, you make a demo, and then you're off, and there's just possibilities are limitless.
Yeah. So I had mentioned earlier, I did podcast production for a few years. And before I kind of jumped into the audio world, my husband has done audio visual stuff for a really long time. He's a video producer. And so we've always had tech around us. And so at one point we were remote in an RV in Oregon, and I was trying to figure out what to do with my time. And he said, well, I brought a mic, I brought, this stuff. He was like, they have this free DAW that you can use. So I like started with Audacity, and I was just kind of playing around with it, started recording myself, not knowing anything, which I think was kind of to my benefit at the time, because I feel like the more you know, the more scared you allow yourself to be, or the more obstacles you give yourself. I had no obstacles. I was like, sure, I'll talk into this mic. So I started recording myself. Then eventually I was like, I'd like to have conversations. And so I started recording my conversations with people that I knew and people that I met through this podcast that I did. And then I had businesses hire me to do that. And I thought, oh, this is cool. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I thought, I don't want to edit all that. Like, I don't want to edit these long form audio pieces all the time. And my husband said, well, what do you enjoy about it? And I said, I love hosting. Like, I love narrating. I loved it from the get-go. And he said, why don't you try voice acting? It was as simple as that. He was like, try voice acting. I'm at like my RV diner table, and I'm like, I don't think I can do that, but sure, let's look. So I went to behind the voice voice actors.
That's right.
And I was like, sure, whatever. I'll audition for some stuff. No idea. I knew how to like export a file maybe at that point, and that was pretty much it. I could record and export a file, and I was like, I'm good to go. And I saw this opportunity, and ended up getting the character in Project Infinity, which I attribute to one of the reasons why I just so love this craft, is because like we all know each other because of one project. And like that has been true with a few other projects I've done throughout the years now. And I just think it's so magical. But yeah, it started with like no idea what was going on and like a mic, and then just saying, sure, I'll try this.
That's amazing. Candice, how would you like to share your origin story?
The origin story.
Yeah.
Well, Tom said that he started with a theater background. You'll catch that a lot of voice actors, they do have that background. For me, I was a really shy kid. As much as I wanted to perform, I didn't, because I felt like I don't have friends. I'm not friends with the theater kids. I was always very to myself. But I got started in voiceover because I was a fan of this show. And that show had a fandom where it was filled with very, very creative people, and they would make lots of fan content, really cool animations and that kind of thing. So I would often come across these internet or online voice actors auditioning for these projects, and I was so enamored by their auditions. And I remember listening to some people might recognize these names. There was Kira Buckland. There was another one of my favorites was Meredith Sims, but Kira Buckland mainly. I listened to her auditions online, and she's an established voice actor now. She's in the industry in America. And I remember listening to her and thinking, oh gosh, I feel like maybe I could do that too. So, and that's how it started. Then I started auditioning for things online. I fell in love with voiceover. I started researching all about it. There's so many resources about it online. I started researching voice actors, anything that I could, books, listening to podcasts like Melanie. I started taking getting coached, taking classes, that kind of thing, like what Tom said before, just immersing yourself, immersing myself into the whole voiceover industry and learning all that I can. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yes. And one of the Kevins, would you like to go?
Okay. So for me, when I started out, voice acting is something I've always wanted to do, I would say, especially from an early onset. I was always into different shows, like off the top of my head, Teen Titans, Avatar: The Last Airbender, all the stuff you see back here basically is another thing, I've always looked up to certain voice actors, like, just to drop some names again, Laura Bailey, Johnny Young Bosch, just everyone within that spectrum. When I was in when I was in high school, I did acting. I was in a couple of like my school's plays, like Addams Family, or like Little Shop was one of my favorites, of course, too. And then I also did in high school. I did my I was in part of my TV productions group. I was the head of my TV productions group, actually, and I mostly started with the editing side. But then my teacher, he really liked my voice, and then I started doing voiceovers and narrations and everything. And they kind of like both fields, kind of like I wouldn't say lead to one another, but they definitely exist within like the sort of same vein. And then come 2017 or so is when I really started taking it seriously. And went on to casting call and everything and started trying out for different things. And the actual amazing thing too is for Project Infinity, Keiko, you were the one who scouted me out because I didn't audition for anything. And that initial like role of like getting Connor is actually what gave me the confidence to then start doing other, like, you know, auditioning for other things. And now I'm in all the things that I am now. Like I wouldn't say like I wouldn't be in say like my dubbing group that I'm in and or do a lot of like the dubbing and like voice acting that I do without that initial spark. So thank you again for that. And just just
Aw.
got a couple roles and just I'm looking to do more, of course, in the future. So that's my story.
Well, I'm honored to feel like I was partly responsible for you pursuing this path.
Very much for it. Yep. Thank you.
So, Kevin Cutliff, how about you?
So like I could go on and on about how I got into voiceover. So I'll try to make it short. Where basically, you know, I've always been a weeb. I've always been a fan of cartoons. I wanted to do VO when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Because I had an audiobook. It was a Geronimo Stoughton book, if you guys know that series. And it was read by a New York actor named Bill Lobley. And he did all the voices in the book, even the girls. And I was like, that's so funny. I want to do that. And that always stuck with me. I was always reading out loud to people. I was reading all the promos out loud. Like I would mute my TV and read the commercials to my parents' annoyance.
That's really cool.
And so it's always been a part of me. And in 2017, I finally took that step. I joined Casting Call Club and got my first role in a comic dub. And, you know, I have lots of inspirations. I'm always taking coaching. I think since when this airs yesterday, I'll be having a class with Paul Liberty. Tom knows what I'm talking about. Basically, in fact, there's so much inspiration still going on today. Like as I said, I started playing Milo in episode 6. His original actor was Joshua Waters, and just today when we're recording this, it was announced he got in an anime, like an actual anime. So like the fact that I replaced his voice, and I feel like I can go to the same lengths as him.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really neat.
That's actually something too. Joshua Waters is actually part of the dubbing group I'm into, and we're decent friends. So
Joshua
is that right?
seems awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, so talented. Auditioning is probably one of the biggest parts of what we do, for sure. I was just wondering, what kind of advice would we give to people who are new to the process? If they're going in for their first audition, you know, what advice do we have for them based on our own experience?
I think I'll go first for this one.
Sure.
Basically, you know, I treat every audition like it's the real thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you will probably get rejected. That's probably what will happen, but you need to know that's a good thing because, you know, every audition is a new opportunity. Every audition is a new client that could hire you later. And basically, so don't stress about the audition. Don't stress about getting rejected. Just treat it like you're already that character, like you've already gotten the role.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to look at it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that a lot more, Kevin, as well, of just thinking, even if I don't get this job, that means I wasn't what they were looking for, which is fine because that also helps me kind of hone in the next audition that's asking for the same thing. Like, how can I get more creative? How can I, you know, do these things? But I've actually had clients do exactly that. So recently someone was like, yeah, I heard your, you know, demo a year ago or whatever. And they reached out to me directly. So you never know what it can mean for your business. Another thing I would recommend is just be creative. So one thing that's been really neat in this industry, especially recently, and I don't know if it's just because we're feeling a bit more hopeful and optimistic about the way the world looks, but I've been hearing a lot more unique takes on a script, and a lot of them have been really cool. So instead of, you know, when you're auditioning, usually you're told, hey, we want these specs, we want this age range, we want some people, I mean, most clients probably don't even know really what they want until they hear the voice. You can see that in the description that they're asking for. We want, you know, warm, but we want bubbly. We want relational, but we want instructive. And you're like, awesome. Let me just do that for you. But being as creative as you can based on what you're reading, I found has made the job, even I say the job, but the audition, which you should view as the job even more fun, because you can see that and say, okay, I kind of, I see what they're asking me, but maybe they also might enjoy this, and giving them a couple takes based on what I think they're asking for. And then what I think it also would sound good for the audition, just to give them some, a unique take that they may not have thought of for that audition. That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Tom, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, just going like what everyone's saying, there's so much rejection in this business and show business in general, not just limited to voiceover. When you approach voice acting and everything, just be yourself. You're bringing yourself to that copy, and one of my friends says it the best. You could be like the best apple pie in the world, but if they want blueberry pie, there's nothing you can do about it. And as an actor, your job is not to get the job. Your job is to go in and act, and that's it. And then you're done. As long as you have fun, you commit to your choices, and you create a story, there's nothing else you can do. You can't make somebody hire you. So trust your instincts, trust your voice, trust your coaching. And if you get an audition, it's because you deserve to get that audition. So just do what you're going to do. And if you don't get it, it has no reflection on you whatsoever.
It's a wonderful way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's very true.
I actually got my first paid role through getting rejected, where I auditioned for a very evil character, and then I got rejected. There was no response from the director, and then suddenly I get this email like, hey, actually, we want you to play the good guy with your normal voice. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll do it. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can never lose in auditioning. You can only gain, because you're either going to learn something new, or like you just said, Kevin, it'll lead to something even better. And so it's always worth trying. Candice, would you like to share your story on auditioning? What do you think?
Ooh, I really like what you have all said. I think just to add, I'll just add two things. Particularly from something that Kevin Cutliff said. It reminds me of something that James Arnold Taylor, the voice actor, said about auditioning and rejections. He said, and I hold on to this dearly, that if you book 1 out of 10 roles that you audition for, then that means every rejection is a step forward to getting the role that's right for you. And I hold on to that. And it has encouraged me so much. And the second thing with auditions is I would say just try. Because in a few instances, sometimes I audition with the intention to just be the side character. Like, oh, I think I only suit the side character. I'm just going to go for the side characters. But then I end up booking the lead role, or something even more pivotal to the story. And so to that, I would say just try auditioning for the characters. You have nothing to lose, like what Keiko said. You never know what they're looking for.
That's true. Yeah. Kevin, go. What about you?
I'd also say just don't be afraid of accepting criticism, and also don't be afraid of going out and asking other voice actors for advice, or being given direction, because you can just do as you are, but given direction, you can improve 10 times faster, of course, with that too. And also just don't be afraid of failure, like all you guys are saying too, because again, don't treat it as a failure, because it just is another step for you to learn more. Go with this advice, I guess, just don't think that you fail, just it gives you another chance, just learn and stuff, and just what everyone's saying, just it's all sound advice. So yeah,
and something I've learned, and that I would add to it, is I definitely say to go for it with your acting chops, because sometimes we worry about giving it too much. We don't want them to think we're putting too much into it. But often, if they can see that you can go that far and give it that much energy, they know you can bring it down a notch. But they don't necessarily know if you can act that big. So if that makes sense, I would say always just go for it. Give it everything you've got, because they'll direct you if they want you to take it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think building on that, and Candice, what you said, kind of just going for it. There are so many roles that I've gotten that when I first saw the audition, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I have no shot at that. Mm-hmm. And you just never know. So that's why all you can do is just be yourself and just literally just go for it. Just go for it in terms of do the audition
Yeah.
and give it your best shot, because it is just some of the stories that I have heard, but like behind the scenes, 99% of it, like the casting choices have nothing to do with talent at all. So
Yeah.
it's just do it. Just make that, and you'll be happy that you did it, because like like everyone's saying, you'll get practice. I mean, Jason
Absolutely.
Griffith, he was auditioning for I think it was Shaman King or something, and he didn't get it. And then like a week later, they liked him and they called him in for this other thing, and then he wound up booking the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's like, just because you didn't get one thing, it could be like a win in your corner. You just don't know. So just keep going.
And I think the last thing I want to add on that is, for you, another thing about being scared to or rejection is, there's so many roles out there these days.
Yeah.
There's so much work out there these days. I think there's an unlimited supply, so you should never like give up on that, because like commercial animation, all of that, everything beyond, where it's like the pandemic, everyone's creating things, so
Yeah, for sure. And I think this probably ties into the auditioning process, but a big part of voiceover is, at least when it pertains to animation or finding a voice for a character, that's a big part of it. Finding a unique voice that fits this character, breathing life into them. And so I thought we could talk about, how is this done? What's our process for looking at a character and figuring out how they should sound? And how do we develop our little, portfolio of voices?
for finding different voices, I actually admittedly haven't had a lot of chances to go on that. My animation demo was my first time really going out of that range, because I use this voice for a lot of things. Just yesterday, I was putting together a video of like clips of everything I've been in, and I was like, oh my God, it's the same voice every time. But then I was like, oh my God, it's the same voice every time. So sometimes I think that people worrying about voices more than the acting, definitely, that's not something you should focus on. But if you're looking to find voices, my teacher, Brian Bremer, said that it's all about layering the voices on, finding that first layer, and then layer that second voice onto the layer, add a bit of movement to it to get that character, or get into character, and
Yeah.
For me, because I do streaming and stuff. When I play a lot of games that have a lot of text and a lot of different like zany, wacky characters that appear on screen, which each one needs like their own unique voice. Which whenever I'm doing that, like I usually base it on like I go with my first impression. Like I try to go with a voice that I feel like would suit them. Just like through all different ranges and stuff. Sometimes starting off is like something that like I might have heard from like a different TV game, movie, etc. And then the voice would then like eventually develop and like fit the character more, just based on like what the personality I've seen, or like any like direction given from also like different casting calls and stuff. And eventually, yeah, you just find a groove. You find like just like a comfort zone of just like voices that you are like comfortable with doing. And yeah, but also just of course don't don't I guess like limit yourself, because you can always push the brink of what you think is like I guess like possible and everything too. Just be creative at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah, I do a lot of visualization, so I don't do a whole lot of character work. This is one reason why I really enjoy Project Infinity, is because it allows me to kind of step into this character, especially a villain, which is so much fun to play, especially when she yells, which is most of the time. And so with her, it's very different, and I approach that a little differently, partly because now she's been a part of my life for 3 years, and so I have a very clear idea of like what she's thinking and what's going through her head when I approach, go step up to the mic. But most of the work I do is narration, TV, commercial, and so even with that, though, you still have to envision who you're speaking to, and in that, I need to be a certain person. Like they would. In that particular scenario, with that copy, with that whatever, I'm set up to be kind of a certain kind of instructor or educator or whatever the case may be. And so I do a lot of visualization. Peter Attenborough is one of my all-time favorite narrators. And so I kind of try to emulate him in a lot of what I do. And so because narration work is one of my loves. And so when I'm doing something, even if I'm not necessarily like on the ocean or like in the jungle, or David Attenborough. Who am I mixing him with? David Attenborough. Good Lord. My apologies, David. Anyway, he's kind of like a narration god. And so I try to emulate him, but I try to envision where I am. So whether it's a classroom, whether it's, in front of a bunch of people, whether it's a very intimate setting, I try to imagine that space, and that really helps me get into character without me being an actual character, like in an animation or like a cartoon or something.
Right.
I create characters out of the booth by I always talk to myself. I probably look really crazy to people who don't understand, but I'm always like mumbling to myself scenarios and new voices, and like people are like, okay, but
voice acting is like the one job where you can get away with talking to yourself. People
Yeah.
still think you're crazy,
Yeah.
but like it's still it's normalized.
You will
I'll be
find
there.
yourself talking to yourself in the car, like when you hear like you'll
Yes.
enjoy the commercials more than you'll like the music. It's like,
Exactly.
I want to hear what's good. Like my wife and I will watch TV, and she'll skip the commercial. I'm like, no, wait, I gotta listen.
Wait,
It's
yes.
research.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I gotta wait and hear with what's hot right now, and
Take some notes.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, when I create a character, so when I first either get the role or I audition for a character, I actually try to find a theme song, because to me, music kind of gets me
Yes.
in that space, and that's what I did when I played Sen in Songs of War. I had a theme song that I would listen to, and it just gets you in that moment. And like Melanie was saying, you paint the scene. The what you need to do is you need to play the scene, not the words. Because the words will come when you play the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And you just remember, you're always having a conversation. So whether it's a commercial, you're coming in the middle of a conversation. You're explaining why this product is so good. If it's animation, it's a little bit easier in that you're probably talking to another character. The trick is to sit back and listen for those nonverbal responses, but pretend like you're getting them in your head. And like Kevin was saying, I mean, the acting is what comes first, because if you can do a great voice, but you can't maintain that voice and act, it's not going to work. So you got to make sure that every voice is an extension of you. Definitely stretch your limits and test your limits and your skills. But if it's not coming from you, then it's not going to work. So that's every single voice has to come from you. So you got to dig deep into see, okay, how is this character part of me?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, for sure. At the end of the day, it is about acting. It's just another form of it. Candice, would you like to add to that?
Well, with developing a portfolio of voices, I would say similar to Tom about research, and very similar to Melanie about taking inspiration from other things and then applying it to yourself. So for me, I've been able to develop my range by doing impressions. So I've just been listening to other voice actors who I think have a similar range to me, and researching what they've done, all of their work, and then I start trying to copy their range, and then I start expanding my own. So it's that idea of research, of copying, of mimicking, and then you just refine your own skills. I remember this saying that somebody once said. It might have been D. Bradley Baker. He said, "A poor impression is an original voice." But yeah, so I start expanding my range, and then I think to myself, gosh, like I didn't know that I could do that, because I'm listening to this other voice talent who I think sounds like me, and then they can do something like that. I'm like, maybe I can do that too. And another thing with character voices, I remember taking a class, and I remember my coach was saying that when you're developing a character voice, it's a very practical thing. You look at the character itself. I guess this is for animation voicing. You look at the character themselves, you look at their characteristics, you look at their personality, and then somehow you take that and you try and incorporate it into your voice. So say it's like a character with like a buck tooth, then you're going to try and talk like this or something like that. But yeah, and just practice. At the end of the day, it's just practice.
I thought I would take this time that I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit. I thought we could play a little game since we're discussing this. I'm going to see if we can see characters for the first time and give them a voice.
Oh man.
Okay.
I've seen
Keiko,
That's so fun.
I've seen these things. Yeah.
while you're working on the screen share, a couple of my recent characters have been loose impressions of actors I'm a big fan of. There's a whole role where it was based off Johnny Young Bosch and his it's like way up here, and he doesn't really Nobi. Can't do it right now. I did a pretty intensive audition earlier. One of them was Ben Diskin. I'm kind of working on a Zeno Robinson where it's his Go from Pokemon. It's like, oh right, it's like way up here, and so
That's awesome.
always inspiring. Always inspired by other actors.
Yeah.
I think that's another, we're all listening to, listening to your fellow actors in something that they did, or, something that's similar to what you did. I mean, like, I heard a great quote years ago in my theater days, and it was like, bad artists copy, great artists steal. We're always stealing from each other, and everything that we've learned, you learn it and you steal it from other actors and you make it your own.
Yeah.
It's like that. So don't be afraid to listen to fellow actors or people that you look up to, because you'd be very surprised at how much you can learn.
Yeah, we very rarely reinvent the wheel with
Oh,
most
no,
things
never,
we do
never.
now, like especially with voice acting, but also with any acting, any performance, like it's all an iteration of something else that's come before. And what's neat about that is there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
If it's worked, that's why it's something you want to emulate, and that's why it continues to be, a format or an approach that's consistent, with today.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually thinking about this with like Queen, for instance. Young people still freaking love Queen because they're amazing. Like where's our modern day Queen, right? And so like I feel like when we see that next band, it's just going to be some sort of iteration of that, not maybe the same vocals, but maybe the harmony, maybe the beats, maybe all these things. And it's because it's loved, it's something about it is endearing and has worked. And we see that all the time in our industry, which is really neat to me because it's just an evolution of something that's already working. And you just, like Tom said, make it work for you and that particular project.
Yeah. I
Don't
can't
fix
tell you
what's
how
broken.
many.
Or
Yeah, no,
don't fix
exactly.
what's not broken.
I can't tell you how many auditions that I do that I have, like, I listen quickly to somebody else's like demo or something that has like a similar spec, and I listen to it, and then I do my audition. You make it your own,
Right.
but it's just good to have that in your ear to hear, okay, this person did it well. Obviously it works, because it's not complicated. It really is simple. Like, what works. And it's, don't reinvent the wheel, like everyone was saying. It's listen to your fellow actors, because it's going to help a lot.
Yeah, you just get frustrated, I think, if you try to make it, because at the end of the day, I feel like you're just going to end up in that place where you're like, oh, I should just try to do this how I can based on what I know. And then that's just you honing your practice as well. So yeah, that's just
if you don't know,
works
if you don't know how to do something, don't put the pressure on yourself. Listen to somebody, how somebody else did it. They did it. So it's possible for you to do it. So take inspiration.
All right, guys. How about we step right up if you dare to play the game? Let's see. How about we start with Tom? I'm going to show you a character hopefully you've never seen before.
Oh God!
And I just kind of want you to
please let it be Gun. Please let it be Gun.
You
please.
Can use. Right. Okay. Let's see. You guys see this?
It's not yet.
Yes.
Oh
okay.
Man.
How does this guy sound?
So he's a superhero. So he's going to have, he's going to be, I think he's young. So he's going to be like a more lighthearted type character.
Right.
He's a boy. So he's got that boy hero kind of shonen type thing going on. He looks like he's your typical shonen hero, that, positive and excited and everything. This, and I'm going to go based on my advice before, not reinventing the wheel. This reminds me exactly, in Zelda universe, I was their first speaking Link, and he had the whole qualities of everything like this. So, what's his? Hey guys, my name is Pyro Man, and I'm gonna save the day. You got it. Let's do this. Stuff like that. So,
Woo,
casually, just like that. No worries.
Exactly, just like that. And don't worry, we can work together and rely on friendship. Just things like that. And you improvise and you go into it, and you can just, you'll be able to find the character.
I think you just invented his catchphrase.
I think, yeah. Let's do this by the power of friendship. Use that character.
That is awesome. We need to get that on the
friendship
t-shirt.
burns brightly.
That is
I'm gonna
perfect.
start. Gun is gonna have that voice now and that personality.
Oh
Oh,
my
is that
gosh.
right?
Yeah.
He's going through his early midlife
Yeah.
crisis.
Watch,
He's like,
you're
"All
gonna
right."
see. You're gonna see next week.
Oh
New
my
casting
gosh.
call, recasting Gun.
As
Project
you, but
Infinity
in Pyro
on
Man's
4
voice.
kids. I see.
Pyro Man. Yeah, exactly.
Let's
He's
go.
Gun and 4 kids.
Oh
That
my
is
gosh.
hilarious.
Oh,
Kevin Go, would you like to see our next?
What do we got going on here?
Oh,
He
this guy's
reminds me
cool.
of that one guy. Well, his haircut reminds me of the one guy from Johnny Test, I think, which is okay. He's got the pock. He's got the pens. So
Mhm.
bit of a nerdy type, I guess. He looks like he's got the Corona haircut, I guess, going on. So yeah, I guess his mom must have cut it. I see.
Yeah.
And bow ties are cool as well. So I'm trying to think here. I'm not sure if I want to go super nasally or like, I mean, definitely something within like an intellectual type, like, vibe, I guess. So
see that.
let me see.
Yeah, he seems like a little nasal.
A little nasally, yeah. Let's see.
Looks like he's not having a very good day, maybe.
Not a very good day. Very pouty. Very something. Must have gotten like a 99 on his math homework or something. Very, very unfortunate. Okay. What would be a good name for this kid? Do you guys think? Something.
He can't be Connor, I guess.
Very much not a Connor. No, not at all.
If you're gonna make him nasally, name him like Milton or something.
Milton. Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about like the nasal, but I'll definitely go like something like just like within that vein. So, my name is Milton, and I really wish I could be doing trigonometry right now. Math is awesome. It's so algebraic. Wait, that's copyrighted. Oh, we can't say that. Okay, back I go to doing my homework, Mom. There we go. So something like that, I would
Nice.
say.
That was
Nailed
good.
it.
I like that.
Nailed it. That was perfect. Kevin Cutliff, what do you think this guy would sound like?
Oh, that one's
Oh.
fancy.
Why is the last two like my range and now it? All right.
Oh,
Is that
you've
like
got
from
this.
it's like a Kirby enemy or something?
Well, he'd obviously be like all the time when he's speaking. He looks kind of fancy.
Yeah, he looks like he could be an intellectual as well, possibly. A little
Yeah.
skeptical.
Very annoyed.
I want to try to combine that, but I wouldn't. Improv is not my strong suit yet. But basically, and if he's like a monster, he's like, come on, can't you just beat me already? I don't.
Yeah, I like
maybe,
that.
Or maybe something like, hey, Big the cat, where it's like,
There you go.
That really fits, especially since we can't really tell where his mouth is.
yeah. Despite what it looks like, I'm actually not that slimy.
That was good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, he's
See,
some hindrance in front of
The
his mouth.
beauty of voice acting is you can do 2 takes. You can make him like a typical monster, and you can make him like some super intellectual out of left field
Yes.
type voice. So that was good. I like that one.
All right, get me out of here.
Yeah, I can see that fitting as well. Let's see. Melanie, what do you think?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, y'all, this is awesome. So, I just did like a political animation for this nonprofit recently, and her name was Catherine. I think this lady may work with Catherine. I think she'd be a Sabrina. You can tell by her lipstick, her hair is obviously like, she wants to be cute and formal, but she's also like, hey, but I can have a good time after work. Check out that curl. She's also a busybody. And so she's going to be a bit more in everybody's business, but really good at what she does because she doesn't sleep. Yeah. So this is Sabrina. And she's really busy and she makes big decisions for her company, but she's also in everybody's business.
Yeah. So
like today I was like talking to like Brad and he was like, oh my God, like Susan was like totally, oh, I'm so sorry. This is not, I'm sorry. This is Brent from IT, right? Right. Like my computer doesn't work. Can you come up like now?
Oh, that is awesome. I can like see her moving already.
Yeah. She never sits down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Candice, are you ready? This is what we've got for you.
Oh man.
Whoa.
What does she sound like?
Well, she seems like she's in tune with the earth. I would say that I would put my voice somewhere up here. And I just want you to connect with your inner self because Peter said so. Protect the animals. Yes.
That was perfect.
Drink your tea.
Face Peter.
You guys are awesome. I've got to say, I put you all on the spot. You did a good job. I mean, it was awesome.
That was really fun.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm. So it just kind of goes to show how sometimes you've got to come up with something really fast, and sometimes all you have to go on is, what you see of the character or a description, and you just got to wing it sometimes.
But notice how a lot of us used what we had seen or worked on before, because it's not reinventing the wheel. That's how memory works, right? And so we're going to immediately think of something that it reminds us of or whatever. And that aids you when you're, in front of your mic, whether it's a project you've been hired for or an audition you're stepping into. So have fun with it.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think that's really important to always be, surrounding yourself with things that inspire you and exposing yourself to new work and new movies or TV, anything. Because just like you were saying, Melanie, you never know what'll stick in your mind and will serve you later when you're trying to book a job or something, And so it's always important to keep yourself inspired, for sure. And so I don't know what you were going to say about that, Tom, if you'd like to go ahead.
I was just going to say, going off of what Melanie was saying is that just because you did one voice for one character, and if that voice is going to work for another character, then do it. Don't worry about, it's going to have the same voice. Maybe it'll have a similar voice, but it's not going to be the same character. And that's what's that's going to shine through. And if you have people who are going to listen to it, as long as you distinguish the characters, they're not going to realize that it's the same voice, because the acting is going to be so different. Yeah. And that is, believe it or not, that is what people are going to hear more, as opposed to the voice.
Yeah, that's a really good point, for sure.
It is sometimes fun, I guess. Let's say, if you're using the same voice, but the characters themselves are completely different. It's sometimes funny then also hearing, say, someone do the voice of Batman, and then hear the same voice come out of a little blob monster, and the difference is in the intonations and the dialect, but it's the same voice and you just don't even notice it, or you do, and just even that doesn't affect the experience at all. Might even strengthen and stuff. So yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So do we have any tips we'd like to share on how we usually prepare for jobs? I guess this kind of ties into what we were speaking about, but there are so many different kinds of voiceover work, and so it's not the same for every job. And so how would we recommend preparing for a project we're about to do?
I would definitely, first, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated.
Yes.
Water's your friend. Just take your time just to sit with the script. Maybe even say it out loud, before you actually get into the job. Just say it out loud, half acting, just so you kind of understand the words, because by you saying it out loud and you saying it slowly, you're going to start to pick up on things as opposed to when you read it coldly. So take some time with the script, sit back, enjoy it, and think about it, and really start to think of the subtle, cues that are not really there that'll really help create those layers in building a character.
Yeah. I would say too, exactly with that, have fun. Just be sure, Tom keeps saying, be yourself. The worst thing you can do is try to be somebody else, and it's going to come out in your performance. If this is a job you've already been hired for and you're in a live session or whatever, they already know what you sound like. I still get nervous with that, because a lot of the times, they can see you. It's you are put on the spot. So when you already realize that's what's happening, even if you haven't had any experience with that yet, all you can do is have a good time, and you're gonna mess up. I think that's also something, I guess, maybe we put on our brains is I just need this to be perfect. And that's why we get afraid, because we know that perfection isn't attainable. So just go in and remember, perfection isn't attainable. So the worst thing you can do is try to be perfect and try to be, somebody else that you think is perfect, instead of just being yourself and having a good time. You will thank yourself after you walk out of the studio and say, not only did we do a good job in there, all of us together, but I had a good time. You will never regret that.
This is a little more specific. When I've been doing jobs recently, oh my God, maybe it's because it's summer, maybe because it's so humid, the mouth clicks.
Yes.
Oh my God. Definitely take care of that before you get into the booth, because I didn't notice the mouth clicks until I put on my headphones after I sent it, and I was like, oh my God, they're so many.
Yeah,
don't know.
for sure. Working with headphones, it brings to light all kinds of things you don't hear
Yeah, it's
otherwise.
important.
For sure.
One thing else I would also say is, again, like going off of what Melanie is saying with perfection and everything. If you're doing a role where you are just behind your mic and you can just like take multiple takes, sometimes it's best to just go with what you think is good enough rather than achieving what is like supposedly perfect, because you can keep recording over and over and over again, and it'll just be like 15 times better. It's not really even worth it. And then another thing with just like all that too is we are often our own worst critics, and we often are like, we come across sounding better to other people than we are to ourselves. So just stop self-doubting yourself. Self-doubt is like just self-doubt ends up being like a what's the word? I'm sorry,
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Self-sabotage. Exactly.
Self-doubt is
believe in yourself at the end of the day. Listen to your animes that have taught you this since grade school,
Believe in the heart of the cards, the power
Heart of the
of
cards,
friendship.
exactly, man.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, the power of friendship.
Exactly.
The power of your Pokemons.
Exactly.
Self-doubt can be very crippling when it comes to these things, where sometimes after when I was done recording my commercial demo, I don't know, I just felt so terrible about it, where I just like burst into tears. That's like the self-doubt just kind of sets in. But I shouldn't have doubted myself, because first off, Tom directed it, so it's going to be good. And after I sent it out, people were like, it's great. So it's like sometimes you just hear yourself and you don't think you're having a good day, but all in all, you should listen to the people around you instead of
Yeah, you're going to be your own worst critic, and you should not have walked away, because I still think about your demo, like, and how you were able to just you came to the table already knowing like the backstory of these characters and these 10-second spots, so it was just leaps and bounds above what I thought it was going to be. And it's like you will hear, how you sound, and your own mess ups and how you felt recording something, so you're going to hear it more critically. Whereas if somebody else hears it, like, dude, when I hear your commercial audition, I'm amazed at how great it sounds, and I walked away from that session feeling so great about what you were producing. So you got to realize that, honestly, you got to, for lack of a better phrase, you got to turn off the ego a little bit, because it's not about you, it's to entertain others. And it's as long as they liked it, then you did your job. And trust me, if somebody hires you or gives you an audition, it's because they trust you. So just do what you're gonna do what they already know. They already know how well you do something. So definitely try not to be overly critical of yourself, because it's so easy to do.
Yeah, and with voiceover work especially, even when we're working, you're also looking for work constantly. The job never ends.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of the times we have to be our own commercial, our own walking commercial. And so I thought it would be really interesting to share to people who are interested in getting started, what are ways that they can get their name out there and, get their foot in the door? What are some good ways to start?
Let me
go ahead,
shill so Tom doesn't have to. He has a direct marketing class, and it's, oh my God, it's so amazing. If anyone, I think that I'm sorry, but I have to shill it, because ever since I took it, I think it's a great way to get yourself out there, emailing people, any platform you can. I know Twitter is hell, Facebook is also hell, but any platform you can, put yourself out there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as voice actors, we're giving life and a voice to characters or scripts or whatever. So you need to give yourself a voice on these platforms, in these public forums. Companies are, yes, okay, if you have your website out there, people might come to you, and that's fine. You establish yourself, but for the most part, nobody's going to come to you. You got to go to them. And that's what something I teach all of my students with direct marketing and the career coaching now, is that you're a business. I mean, it's called show business for a reason, and businesses are out there to make money and to get in touch with other businesses. So you'd be extremely surprised at how many large companies, big time Fortune 500 companies, have internal rosters of voice talent. And all it takes is for you to just say, hey, I'm here and I'm willing to help. And as easy as I tell everyone, if you've ever sent an email, then you know how to market yourself. Just tell people that you're out
Mhm.
there in a nice, simple way. Send
Mhm.
your demos over as a link, and be present on social media, and you will see how much your business will change.
I had one person I emailed, like, people appreciate it too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, one person was like, "Oh my God, I don't get emails asking me for it, so
Yeah.
send it over."
That's awesome. You can never have enough practice with the auditioning portion, which is
Yeah.
you, your voice, you as the talent, but you can also never have enough practice with you as the marketer.
Yeah.
And so the more that, and again, this goes back to the perfection thing, because we all feel imposter syndrome. We all feel, I can't say this correctly. If I don't say this correctly, they're never going to hire me. That is complete BS. They won't even see your email most of the time. And so when you're just sending out one or two, we call it pitches, whatever, about yourself, like, don't feel discouraged. Like, for a long time, it's a numbers game. It's the same with auditions, because there's a lot more opportunity now, and a lot more, the arena is bigger, and wherein that can be overwhelming and discouraging, it should also be encouraging and inspiring, because that means there's more work for you. There's more opportunity for you. More companies are seeing the value in voiceover. And like Tom said, if you're there, whether or not you catch them on a great day, which sometimes happens, which is really cool, and they're like, yeah, here's this audition that we have that we need to fill by Friday, and you're like, great. Or if it's, them reaching out to a year later, you can never do yourself harm by sending out another email or sending in another audition. So
right.
the more it's like Keiko said, like, this is an endless space. And that's one thing that's got me really jazzed right now. I love that it's just, I cannot work enough, right? And like, for some people that can be scary, but for me, it's like, let's get in there and send as many auditions as we can. Let me email that other person who I don't even know if they use voiceover. Like, do your research, but also you kind of never know. So like, be your walking, what is it, calling card or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You're your own best agent. I mean,
Yes.
you literally, like, anything that you can think of to get your work and your name out there, like, do it. Because I have a shirt. I have a Tom Aglio voiceover shirt that I wear out, and
awesome.
like my I don't know if you guys can see it. My pop socket on my phone, Tom Aglio.
Oh, that is
voiceover
oh
right
my
there.
gosh,
God.
that's really
So,
cool.
It's just, you're just market yourself. Just get out there, and anything that you can do, slip it in the conversation. Hey, I'm a voice actor, because you just never know.
Yeah, we got to find out where we can get our Tom merch.
Yeah.
That's like the only t-shirt I'm going to wear now is like my voiceover business on my shirt. That's
You
so
should.
smart.
I have a
should.
lot to say about this topic, so sorry about that. But what Melanie said also goes for it, whereas you shouldn't doubt yourself when emailing, where it's like, even if you are successful, where I had a director I emailed, and they were like, yeah, send over your demo, and I was like, okay, thanks, and then I sent it, no response for months. I'm like, oh crap, that must mean he didn't like it. But the months later, I got an audition from him, so I was like, there you go. So
cool.
Goes back to what Melanie was saying, where that ego is like,
Yeah, that same scenario has happened to me before. I'll send a demo and I hear nothing, and then like a year later they'll say, we want you for this very important role, and it's like,
so bizarre.
There's nothing wrong with being persistent, and like, just you gotta want it more than other people, because the field is also super saturated. Like, it's so competitive, where if you have a set of skills, there are like 10 plus other people who can do the same thing as you. So you gotta want it, and like, even if you don't get the role, just suck it up, move on. There'll be more roles.
Like Tom teaches, though, the follow-up is super important. You'll hear that a lot from marketing teachers and coaches, but that's something that is extremely valuable. What is it? What's the percentage, Tom, of people who don't ever see like your first like 5 touches, and then like by the 6th time, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, the cold emailing, and just voiceover aside, just in general, the industry standards like 1% response rate. But you don't need 99 of the other percent to make a good business. You just gotta, and like Kevin was saying, be persistent, follow up, say I'm here. I mean, one of the reasons why I booked Next Stop Nowhere with that studio, which used to be the Telltale Game Studio, so it was a big studio, was that I followed up with them a lot, and they gave me a call back, and then I did it, and then I didn't hear anything. I'm like, guys, like, I'm sure, did you fill the role? What's going on? And they were like, oh yeah, that's right, we didn't, we loved your work, so here you go. So you just don't know. You don't know what people are thinking on the other end. So just, unless they tell you to stop contacting them, keep at it, be persistent.
Because most of the time it's not you. Like
It's
Tom
not.
said, like their dog could have gotten sick. They could have been
Yeah.
on vacation for 3 months. Like you have no idea. It's easy for us when you're the only one behind your screen,
Yeah.
like sending an email, like just to think this whole world outside of me revolves around me. It does not.
No.
It doesn't. So.
I've gotten very persistent with networking recently. According to LinkedIn, I've sent too many connection requests, so now I am a recruiter.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that happened.
Wait, what?
I sent like 200 connection requests, and they're like, "No, you cannot send anymore. I'm
Dude,
premium."
I
And-
get caught
okay.
put in LinkedIn jail for searching for people, so they say you're
Yeah.
a marketer. Oh my God, I didn't know. I did not know. Now with connection requests, I'm gonna include that in my marketing coaching.
I
now.
think that it's for premium because they have
Right.
different
Okay.
tiers of premium. I have the cheapest one, and they're like,
Yeah.
"You have to upgrade to this one if you want to like start looking for more profiles." I'm like,
Oh
they're
my God.
trying to get your money. So.
I got put in, I call it LinkedIn jail for searching for too many people. So I went on my wife's profile and I was using her profile to find people to market to.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my God. I did not know that with connecting with people. See? Oh my God. I did
Always
not know that.
learning.
I've also been working on Facebook, where I know Facebook's a bit more personal, but sometimes you can take that risk where they may seem a bit more open, especially if I have a lot of mutual friends with them. They're more likely to respond to that friend request. And that's great because I find Messenger to be a lot more easier than LinkedIn's Messenger.
Yeah, it's definitely more user friendly. And all those ads that you see on Facebook, like whatever, whatever companies they are, you should message them on Facebook, and you never know if they need voiceover work. Because I can guarantee you a lot of people are not doing that. So there's opportunity everywhere.
That's right.
Sometimes they'll reject your
wrote that
friend
down.
requests, and that hurts a little, but most of the time it works. So
Now, taking care of our voices, because it is our tool, is very important. And so I was wondering, what do we all do if we get sick? And how do we take care of our voices?
you audition for sick characters with that new voice you gain.
There you go. And then
Just
just hope
you
that you're still
being-
sick during the booking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that's one of the most disappointing. I think I've been really sick one time since I don't get sick often, but one time really badly while being a professional voice actor. And it was so disappointing. And of course I had like a previous client reach out to me that week and said, "Hey, I have this audition. I want you to come in." And I did it. I
Always
was in
seen
the
how it
midst.
works.
Oh my gosh, I could barely keep my eyes open. I'm like in front of my mic, like, oh my God. And then I messaged her and I was like, "I'm so sorry. Like, I really just wanted to show you that I was there and available, but it sounds like total crap." And she was like, "I didn't even notice." And I was like, okay, you're being nice because I sound like death. But honestly, like when you're sick, depending on what it is, like I had the sore throat, the nasal, everything was just totally backed up. But there's nothing much you can do except just rest and water and sleep. And honey and ginger and all those fun at home remedies, but water all the time.
Yeah.
Like normally just water. That's going to be your best asset. Besides, I mean, I think auditioning too, just to keep your vocal cords fresh. But water.
I have
Water. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the tendency of who's going?
Sorry, I'm sure we've all had that moment where it's like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything but that when you feel it coming on.
Yeah. What were you saying, Kevin? Go.
I have the tendency of getting very, very extra loud when it comes to just either streaming or doing different roles, evil laughing, like all those kinds of things. And you just gotta like pace yourself. Like if you have a lot of lines to do, like I have this one project that I'm doing where I have to redub all the lines for a specific character who's an evil teddy bear, for example. And like he has the most dialogue of any character in the game, probably, well, obviously definitely more than 1,000 lines or so. And just limit yourself. Just I unfortunately did like when I was doing something like that, I ended up going through like chapters 1 to 6 for like one of those kinds of roles. And just by the end of it, my voice was hoarse. Like obviously not just all that stuff. So just remember to just pace yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean that's your money.
Yeah, don't power through it. Your voice is your money. Exactly.
It is your money maker. I mean, you got to take care of it. I mean, like Melanie was saying with an audition, I had an audition where I had to schlep into the city, and I'm telling, like I was definitely knocking on death's door. I was so sick, And I'm like, there's a very good chance I'm gonna like die in this waiting room right now.
Oh my
But you'll be
gosh.
there.
Yeah. And it's just, you know what? And the best thing, honestly, the best advice that I can give you for your voiceover career when you're sick is the best thing you can do is go play video games, go watch TV, go sleep, don't talk.
Don't even talk.
Just rest your voice, because you can really damage your voice. Like Andrea
Yeah.
Toyas from Blizzard, like when she has like a very vocally strenuous session, she'll tell her actors like, I love you, but don't talk to me. Go sit in the corner and be quiet. Because it's like, you got to rest your voice. You have to take care of your voice. It's so
I admit
important.
when I get sick every day, I have a cough. I can't do my really high voice when I'm sick. So every day I'll test that out. I'm like, okay, is it working today? Or and then that'll determine if I'm able to do voiceover for the day.
That's so funny. I was doing a series where I had to play like this character Chet, and he was a bro. So he was like, yo, dude, that's totally awesome. But like, and I was sick, and I was trying to do it, and I said to the director, I'm like, dude, it sounds like Chet has a cold. Like, it's just, I can't. He was so nasally. He was like, oh, dude, that's totally awesome, like that. And I'm like, I can't. I have to go to bed. So just rest when you're sick.
I remember if you guys know Kaiji Tang, he's an awesome actor, and he did an interview with Anthony Padilla originally from Smosh. He does his own stuff now. He did like speaking with voice actors. I think it was Kaiji Tang and Tara Jane, and basically he talked about like how he did a role, and after he did that role, he wasn't able to record for 3 days.
Yeah,
and so like you got to be careful with that. That's 3 days of lost work.
Yeah, and that's especially when you're your own business. I mean,
Right.
if you're not working, you're not making money. So you
Right.
want to try to minimize that time as much as possible. So rest.
Yeah. What about you, Candice?
Oh, everyone's advice has been really tea, sleep, rest, don't speak. Silence is the best remedy. I would say it's a small thing, but if you have lines where you need to scream or do any grueling noises, it's probably best to save that for last. Do all of your normal talking lines first, and then save the screaming for later.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to shoot your voice out with the first couple of lines. Yeah,
My plan is if I have multiple characters, I will go highest range first down. So the deepest voice would be the last character I record.
Yeah, because you're most comfortable with the highest ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing it too much lately.
Yeah, I always feel very bad when I'm sending out scripts and there's a lot of yelling and exclamation points in them, because I know what it takes to put that out, especially with like characters Octavia and Gunn, especially our last episode. I mean, Gunn went full.
Tom, for
It was
episode
like all yelling.
was it
Oh my
10 or
God.
9? What was the most recent one that was released that
episode
had
9.
a 9? Like, oh my God, that crying scene. I was like, what? Are you okay?
Oh,
like,
thank
you
you.
were yelling.
Yeah,
That was intense.
it was really intense. It got really, really intense up in this booth. Like, I was sweating. I had tears coming down my face. It's just like, and I saved that for last. I had to. I saw it in the script. I'm like, I'm going to skip over that until the end.
That's really smart.
I just wanted to mail you an Oscar.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, and I know this is more or less not your voice, but you should also take care of yourself as well, because my booth, I have to turn off the air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
And I live in Georgia. It's been 90 degrees.
Yeah.
All week. So like, I'm sweating. I'm dripping sweat by the time I'm out of here. So make sure you go behind a fan after you're done.
I have a fan in my booth that I keep on like while I'm recording, and it's that is the best way to not like try to be perfect in all your auditions and harp on them and take forever, because you're like sweating to death in the booth. So it's like, just do the
I
auditions,
can't
you
do
can turn
so
the
many
fan back on and
auditions.
you can breathe. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. It's like, I'm done with this. I can't. They're gonna like with the work that I'm giving them, because I can't breathe anymore.
Yeah. So, we're kind of moving towards the end of our conversation. I was wondering, since we have been doing this for quite a while, voiceover work, what advice would we give to ourselves if we had the opportunity when we first started out? If we could get a time machine and, give ourselves advice, what would we tell ourselves?
I would definitely honestly the best advice that I would tell myself if I could go back in time is I would sit past Tom down and say all of the fun that you're having right now and just the excitement about creating these characters and finding voices and doing these commercial scripts and you're just the pure enjoyment of just doing it. Don't ever lose that because it's so easy to get jaded and like miserable and compare yourself to others because it's tough. It's a really tough field. Anything in show business is, and you it's just not worth doing if you're not going to have fun and you're going to beat yourself up over it. So that excitement that you feel in the beginning and wanting to audition for everything and you can't wait to do it, don't lose that. Like that is going to be your ticket to everything.
Don't let one failed audition dictate the rest of your career. You know?
Yeah, seriously, like that, like that first day, you're like, I'm going to bang out a bunch of auditions and I'm going to have, and you have so much fun doing it. You're like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Remember that every single time that you do auditions and don't worry about the outcome. Just focus on the process and walk away.
That is some good advice.
Yeah.
That's very good.
I'd say two things. One is don't tell everyone you're starting out, whereas, the fake it till you make it, where, you're professional already. You don't have to be like, oh, hey, but
I tell you that all the time. You're a pro.
and second, I would tell myself to get rid of the bottom bunk bed earlier because I was recording in the middle of my room and it was echoing all the time. I'm sure lots of lost auditions were because of that crappy space. Would have told myself to renovate this earlier.
Yeah. What about you, Melanie?
Yeah, I have two things. One would be kind of what Tom said of just like in the beginning, you have no idea what you like to do and you have no idea what people will hire you for, whether unpaid or paid. Yeah. Audition. If you have the time and you're excited about it, audition for absolutely anything you can get your hands on. It's good practice. It's good. You'll learn your technique really fast of how you get it, just even the mechanics of getting in your studio or getting under your bunk bed or whatever you do and getting familiar with your tech. I know that's a huge thing I teach when I'm teaching podcast production is just get in it with your tech and everything else. Learn how everything works. And then the second thing is learn a more sophisticated DAW, digital audio workstation, early. So I started with Audacity, which was fine. But like Kevin said, like I even look back on a couple projects that were really big that I think, why did they hire me? Because I listen to them now and I'm like, that was not good, right?
Blue snowball quality.
It seriously. And so what I'm able to do now is not, again, maybe not be perfect, but it is like way better than what I was able to produce before. And it's because I went through the frustrations and irritation that came from having to learn something new, like we all do.
Yeah.
I learned it and now I can't believe I did it without it before. So.
Yeah. What about you, Candice?
I think one of the things I would tell my past self is let it be known. Let it be known that you do voiceover. Because I lived, for the most part of this, my lifestyle was that I am me by day and voiceover by night, and none shall know. But it wasn't until that I started opening up more about it and telling people that this is what I do, this is what I love. It actually opened up more opportunities for me. And it relates back to what Tom was saying before. Just let it be known that here I am, this is what I do. And I would tell that to my past self because I have a lot of regrets about keeping things to myself that, I should have spoken up at that point, that I do this, that this is what I do. I would tell myself that. Make yourself known.
I think one more thing I would tell myself is to not be afraid, going to Tom again, do not be afraid to talk to other people, other voice actors, where it's like, back when I was first starting and they, oh my God, it's like, oh my God, a big actor is talking to me, like, oh my God. But like, they're all human as well. We're all trying the same thing. I think I'm pretty confident with talking to people on a higher level than me now. So just don't be afraid to reach out, ask for advice and,
Yeah, exactly. Before we tell everyone how they can keep up with us and such, I think what a lot of people would love to hear, especially if they're fans of you guys, is why don't you give them a sample of some of your better known roles or just a little sample of the kind of thing you typically do? I think that would be fun for them to hear. So why don't we start? Kevin, go. Would you like to give us a little
Okay.
snippet?
Yeah, I'll give a 3 that I'm like pretty known for, just like a line or two from each of them. So these first 2 are from the game Your Turn to Die, which I do like dubbing for. The first one is So Hior, who kind of sounds a lot like a Connor Ackland. He's this kind of a not very trustworthy type individual. He's like, hey, so just a simple question, but do you know what a majority vote is? And then there's Kai Sato, who's definitely like a kind of a quiet, just like, my name is Kai Sato, and I am a homemaker, and all that kind of stuff. And then now we have the evil teddy bear that I've referred to before, and I'll start out with the evil laugh and then like one of his known lines. So we have... I'm Monokuma, and I am the headmaster of this academy! Kind of like that. So yeah, that's what I do.
That was awesome.
Incredible. How about you, Melanie? What would you like to give?
So I don't do a lot of character work, but I did do my first, I was in my first RPG this year, and I played an old aristocrat. I'm having a really hard time with names and titles tonight, named Duchess Martha. And she is very wealthy and well-to-do, and you think that she's a villain for the longest time, because I guess I'm kind of typecast, I guess, in my character roles. But she has a deeper voice, and she's fun. And I guess a couple of her lines, because it's an RPG, and so they have like the text that goes, and then she does a couple lines. But one of them that I really liked was, "Oh my," and then another one that she had was, "Absolutely not." So those are my favorite.
I love that. What about you, Candice? What are your better known roles or your favorites?
Ooh, well, I would say that I don't think I'm in anything mainstream or that a lot of people would know, but we all seem to be taking the villain role here.
Villains are more fun. I can,
Yeah, I know that for one of this one audio drama that I was in, I do play the lead villain in that one. Yeah, and it's been so much fun. I get to bust out the evil laugh. Oh, that was terrible. It's 10 a.m. But yeah, I love saying those lines where she's like, "Oh, that was so pitiful." That kind of thing. Oh,
Yeah.
it's great. But I do love playing I'm not really sure. I'm a really awkward teen. I gotta go. Bye. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Awesome.
That is awesome. What about you, Tom?
I played Speed in Marvel Avengers Academy.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, he was the strongest hero for a little while.
Yes.
So. And that was just like a lot of one-liners. So he would say like the name's Speed, and like I got a need for speed, stuff like that.
Oh my god.
And then when I played Link in the English dub of Link's Awakening, the comic dub, it was he had this move that I liked saying, and I actually still say it in the car because it's so much fun to say. It's like a yelling. He says like, "Two-step sword revolution." So that's fun to do. And then and then what else? I'm trying to think like what else I've oh man. And I think just like the next stop nowhere, the game, like Eddie says, like, "Hey guys, I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm dead, dude." Okay, but not like really dead, but like after I do this thing that's probably going to end up with me dead. So something like that. So those 3 things are fun.
That's awesome. Thank you. Kevin, Cutliff, I don't think you've gone yet.
All right. Well, I'll try 3 since basically, of course, I got to do Milo, where he's just kind of like up here, and I really love him. He's like super energetic and stuff, and I actually have nightmares at night that Keiko's gonna write him to betray everyone. And then there was a fan dub I was in, but I don't like talking about my fan dubs because the professionals might not like it. But it was a Johnny Young Bosch impression of Nobi in Doraemon. And, so it's like, dude, that thing's like super useless, but can you like help me out all the time? Doraemon, help me! And then one of my newest roles is Scorgi in Unmasked. It's not out yet, but I can do the voice where I was inspired by Ben Diskin, where from Puyo Puyo, where it's like, he's like, he doesn't give a crap about anything. It's like, come on, I don't really care. But like I said, a lot of my roles are in the same range, so I can get away with a lot of that.
Yeah, well, I thought there was a lot of variety just right there. They all had a different personality.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. We've gotten to talk about a lot of different topics, all the different facets of the industry and just how we personally deal with them and what is fun to us and what we suggest others do. But I was wondering if we could all tell the listeners how they can keep in touch and ways they can follow us or any projects we're working on that we would like to tell them about. Like Tom in your class, I think that it would be wonderful to let them know where they can find that.
Sure. So you guys can follow me on tomaglio.com/coaching. I do offer like direct marketing coaching for people who have their demos and are ready to send that out. But I also offer career coaching that's more for beginners, kind of just teaching you everything at a high level about voiceover unions, mics, booths, how to get your work out there, representation, all of that. That's something I offer. So you can follow me on my website, on social media, at Tom Aglio VO on Twitter and Instagram, Tom Aglio VO on Facebook and LinkedIn. And some things I'm working on. I don't know if anyone's a fan of iHeartMedia or listens to iHeartRadio and stuff, but I have 3 nationals running on there. So let me know if you hear them.
Super.
I don't know if they're airing just yet, so I can't say who they're with, but they're well-known companies. So, let me know if you hear my voice on that.
Absolutely. Melanie?
Yeah. So everything that I do, I usually post to my website, just melaniescroggins.com. But I'm on Twitter, Melanie Scrog VO. I'm on LinkedIn, Melanie Scroggins, Facebook, Melanie Scroggins. And then I just created a new Instagram, finally did it, and it's Melanie Scroggins VO. So I try to keep that updated as well. I don't have any projects that anyone would like hear or listen to. I had a commercial that hasn't been aired yet. And again, I'm under an NDA, so I can't say who that's with, but it'll be on national TV in the next couple months. So anyway, when that comes out, hopefully I can share about it. But anyway, that's super vague. I'm also looking to host my own podcast this fall, all about voiceover. And again, I don't want to say much about it yet. But yeah, so just follow me on social and keep you updated.
It's a lot to look forward to. What about you, Kevin? Go.
Okay, so my moniker is the same on every single platform. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, casting call, of course, YouTube as Keiko Pro, which is K, my last name, and then the word pro, and also on another YouTube channel called Voicing Harmony, which is my dubbing group with where we do dubs for comics based on series like Danganronpa, My Hero Academia, and recently Your Turn to Die. So you can find me on just all those different platforms.
All right. Candice?
Yeah, just like Kevin, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, same handle, just at Candice Faith V. I really like keeping in touch with people, mostly on Instagram, where I've got a little family following going on there, and I like posting like behind the scenes stuff of my voiceover work, and it's lots of fun, lots of positive vibes.
Yeah. Kevin Cutliff?
Okay, so you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kevin Cutliff. I have a couple new projects coming out soon, like Wild House episode 2. I think that's next week. Of course, Project Infinity should be out soon, I hope. And
That's right.
And just some Unmasked, which I talked about, should be coming out soon. And for any potential clients, my website is kevincutliff.com. Any paid roles goes to my college, so it's always helped. So
Awesome.
That is awesome. All right, and you can find my work on my YouTube, which is MLA Entertainment. It's where I post my original web series and various other forms of entertainment. So that's where you can find Project Infinity, where all of these awesome people lend their voices. I'm so honored to work with them. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to continue working on it with them. So that's probably the best way to keep up to date with me. And my Tumblr is also MLA Entertainment. So, yeah, I think unless any of us have any final thoughts to share, we're about done here. And so, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Or
Oh, I guess just thank you so much, Keiko, for setting up all of this. Thank you
Yes,
for
thank you.
the
Yeah, thank you.
opportunity for Project Infinity. It's one of my favorites.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you put in so much work into it. You are so hardworking, and it's brilliant. I wish the world knew about it.
Well, thank you very much. Getting to work with other creative people is so much fun. I'm just a very creative person, and so it's a pleasure to have you guys on board.